على صلاة الفجر قلنا من عند الحرس الجمهوري قالوا في ضرب نار. احنا هنا استقبلنا 6 جثث ميتة، في حالات داخلة مننا في غيبوبة وارستد اتحولت على المستشفيات.
What we're seeing in Egypt is a situation in which the army seem to be leading a crackdown on the Muslim Brotherhood. Soldiers seem to have killed dozens of protesters supporting deposed President Mohamed Morsi. This is a human rights crisis which stretches across all of Egypt, and much of this current political violence could have been better contained if the security forces had put plans in place to control it. Instead, the security forces, as I speak, seem to be resorting to their usual policy of responding to protests with unnecessary and excessive force. Amnesty International's researchers have been on the ground since before the current crisis began. Right now, they're going from hospital to hospital, from morgue to morgue, trying to interview eyewitnesses, trying to get the first-hand accounts of what happened. And the mood in Cairo at the moment is incredibly polarized. It's clear that neither side seems to be talking to each other, and neither side has confidence in each other. And that's part of why Amnesty International is calling for an independent investigation into the abuses that we've seen over the last few days, one which all sides to Egypt's current political crisis can input into, suggest members of, something that would be a confidence-restoring measure. This is a critical time for Egypt. What we can't see is the kind of investigations that we saw under the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces and under the rule of President Morsi, in which abuses, serious human rights abuses by the army and security forces were effectively covered up. The army cannot run its own investigation into these kind of abuses. Under military rule, the army and security forces killed over 120 protesters. Military courts unfairly tried over 12,000 civilians, and the soldiers were filmed beating women in the streets, and they also subjected women protesters to virginity tests. This is the kind of record, this is exactly the kind of record that the army now needs to avoid and take steps to avoid now that they seem to be one of the most powerful players in Egypt today.